Ethan looked at Lily the same way he had seen men look at women on TV. "Lily, please," he said softly. "Let's do that thing again, the one the man and woman did in the video. I like it. It's so nice." Tears welled up in Lily's eyes as she shook her head. "No, brother Ethan, I won't do that again. It hurt so much. I never want to do it in my life again." Are you wondering how these children reached such a point? Why is Ethan asking Lily to do something so unspeakable? How did it get here? And where are their parents in all of this? Stay with me as we uncover the heartbreaking story of Lily and Ethan. 9-year-old Ethan and his 7-year-old sister Lily were often left alone at home. Their parents, Mr. and Mrs. Carter, were hard-working professionals. Ethan and Lily had grown used to being by themselves, though it was far from something they enjoyed. They tried to entertain themselves with board games or drawing, but the TV always seemed to lure them in. One particular evening, Ethan was watching a late-night show featuring bright lights, loud music, and adults laughing and talking in a way that seemed odd to him. The scenes moved quickly, filled with excitement and intrigue. Curiously, he called out to Lily, who was in the other room. "Lily, come here. Look at this." Ethan's voice echoed down the hallway. Intrigued, Lily rushed into the living room and sat beside her brother. The two stared wide-eyed at the screen, mesmerized by the flashing colors and fast-paced music. They didn't understand much of what was being said, but it seemed fun, so they kept watching. "Why are they doing that?" Lily asked innocently. Her forehead creased in confusion. She didn't understand the content, but felt it was different from the shows they usually watched. "I don't know," Ethan replied. "Maybe it's something fun that grown-ups do." The scenes continued, leaving their young minds confused yet curious. They didn't know it yet, but the images they were watching weren't meant for their eyes. They were unknowingly stepping into a world far more complex than their understanding. Days passed after Ethan and Lily had watched that strange TV show, but the images remained fresh in their minds. The curiosity planted within them grew, soon becoming something they couldn't ignore. One afternoon, while their parents were at work, Ethan looked at Lily, his face lit up with excitement. "Lily, do you remember that thing we saw on TV?" he asked quietly, a mischievous glint in his eyes. Lily's face tensed as the unsettling images crept back into her thoughts. "I don't know, brother Ethan. It didn't feel right," Lily replied, her voice hesitant. But Ethan had already made up his mind. "Let's try it," he said with a playful smile, unaware of the weight of his words. To him, it seemed like just another harmless adventure. Lily frowned, feeling uneasy. "No, brother Ethan. Mom said we shouldn't copy things we see on TV," she said softly. But Ethan, oblivious to the implications, persisted. "Come on, Lily. It's just pretend. No one will know." Lily hesitated, unsure of what to do. Ethan added, "Remember when you went outside that day, even though Mom and Dad told us not to? No one found out. But if you don't do this with me, I'll tell Dad." Lily panicked, not knowing what to do. Neither of them fully understood what they were about to do, but Ethan's words made her feel trapped. Finally, she agreed. She took a deep breath and nodded. "Okay, brother Ethan, let's do it." In that moment, the curiosity that had always driven Ethan and Lily to explore together took a dark turn. Unlike the sweet adventures they usually shared, this time something was different. As they entered the room and lay on the bed, Lily felt a sharp pain. She screamed, running into the living room. "Ah, this is weird, brother Ethan. I never want to do this again in my life," she cried, clutching her chest as tears streamed down her face. The pain was unbearable, far worse than she had imagined. Ethan, on the other hand, didn't understand why Lily was so upset and still wanted to continue, unaware of how terribly wrong the situation had become. But Lily's heart raced with fear, and she deeply knew that this wasn't right. This wasn't like the harmless adventures they used to share. This time, there was no laughter, no joy, only pain and deep regret. Lily's discomfort grew with each passing day. She could see the changes in Ethan's behavior, and it scared her. He had become more stubborn, more insistent, and Lily could feel that he was no longer the playful brother she once knew. The innocence that had once defined their bond seemed to have slipped away. One afternoon, when their mother came home briefly to pick up some documents, Lily felt an overwhelming need to speak up. She couldn't bear the silence any longer. "Mom, can I talk to you?" she asked hesitantly, her voice trembling as she approached her mother. Mrs. Carter, distracted by phone calls and her growing to-do list, barely looked up. "Not now, Lily. I'm in a hurry," she replied, juggling calls and glancing at her watch. Lily stood there for a moment, her heart sinking. Her mother sighed, clearly stressed. "Later, darling. Be a good girl, all right?" She barely accepted her daughter's compassion as she once again stepped out the door. Lily's tiny voice faded into the background, drowned by the noise of her mother's busy life. She retreated to her room, tears streaming down her cheeks. Her heart ached, but she felt invisible in a home that was supposed to be a safe place. All she wanted was for her mother to hear her, to understand the weight of her pain. One afternoon, after yet another attempt by Ethan to ask Lily to imitate an inappropriate scene from the show they had watched, Lily couldn't take it anymore. She ran out of the house, her small body shaking with fear and confusion. She didn't know where to go. She found herself standing at the door of their kind neighbor, Aunt Grace. "What happened, Lily?" Aunt Grace asked, kneeling down to meet her at eye level. Lily couldn't hold it in any longer. She burst into uncontrollable tears, sobbing as she spilled everything: Ethan's request, the growing fear inside her, and the discomfort. Aunt Grace wrapped Lily in a comforting hug. "You did the right thing by telling me," she said softly, her voice warm. "You don't have to carry this alone. I'm here for you, and we'll figure this out." Lily clung to Aunt Grace, finally feeling a sense of relief. The weight that had been pressing on her chest seemed to lift slightly. "I'm scared," Lily whispered. "What should I do, Aunt?" Aunt Grace smiled gently and wiped her tears. "Don't worry, my dear. I'll help you. You're safe now." The parents were shocked, and at first they were in defense mode. "Ethan wouldn't do something like that," Mr. Carter said, his voice firm with disbelief. "Maybe they misunderstood what they saw." Mrs. Carter tried to downplay the seriousness of the situation, but Aunt Grace was firm. "Children see what they see, and they're given enough material to make sense of it," she said. "You've been so focused on work that you've forgotten to see what your children are watching. This is a warning," she added, her voice steady and filled with concern. Mr. and Mrs. Carter were silent, realizing that their actions, although unintentional, had made their children vulnerable to dangers they hadn't even considered. Accepting this was not easy for them, but they knew they had to change. Carter took immediate action to correct the wrong. He decided to monitor the children's screen time, ensuring that they only watched age-appropriate shows and engaged in suitable activities. They were also encouraged to talk about anything they had seen on TV, helping them understand their thoughts and feelings. In addition to these changes, Carter arranged for both Ethan and Lily to speak with a counselor. They knew their children needed guidance to understand their emotions. As they recovered from their experiences, the family made a conscious effort to spend more quality time together. In the evenings, Mrs. Carter would read stories to Ethan and Lily before bed, while Mr. Carter kept them engaged in fun games. Gradually, the siblings started laughing again, rediscovering their bond through positive, healthy activities. It was a journey, but the Carters were committed to ensuring their children grew up in a safe and nurturing environment, free from the dangers of inappropriate content. Months passed, and the Carters became a more attentive and present family. Mrs. Carter made a conscious decision to reduce her work hours, making her family a priority. Mr. Carter, who had always been busy with work, started dedicating his weekends to spending time with Ethan and Lily. Under this new attention and love, the children blossomed. Ethan and Lily felt more confident knowing they could approach their parents about anything on their minds. The painful silence that had once filled their home was replaced by laughter, love, and the warmth of a family that was learning how to truly be there for one another. One evening, as they were all sitting together playing a board game, Lily turned to her parents with a thoughtful expression. "Thank you for listening to me now," she said softly. Her words, though simple, were filled with meaning. They brought tears to Mrs. Carter's eyes, and in that moment, the family understood the true importance of their relationship. The greatest gift they could give each other was their attention, love, and presence in one another's lives. This was a new beginning for the Carters, based on stronger bonds and a deeper understanding of what truly matters. This is the end of our story. This story teaches us that the greatest gift we can give our children is our attention and love. Children should feel that their words are being heard and understood, especially when they are trying to share something important. Change begins by listening to their voice. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more interesting stories. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever felt that your voice was too harsh in childhood? Until next time, goodbye.